glad y'all tuned in. We about to get the show started. Yeah. Dr. Clyde Winters and Yoshi. Yeah. Then and now. We talking about back in the day and right now. Yeah.
Now let's introduce Yoshima the Genius and Dr. Clyde Winters, the godfather of research.
Welcome to the Den and Now. What? Man, hold up. We got the world-renowned, the realest, the OG, the godfather of research in his house, Dr. Clyde Winters, baby. Hoo. I know we talking about it, baby.
What up, though? What up, though? And we got the
Hey.
genius in the house, the genius. The
What
man
up?
with the plan, the man who make the music make you want to dance, the man who make the music make the women want to scream, the man who make the women want to say, I'm your queen. Yes, sir, that's the music man. Yoshima, what up, though?
What up, peeps? What's up? Everybody, what's happening?
What's up, family? Karen, go travel abroad. Glad to see you this week.
Peace, go travel abroad. Yeah, B1. Yeah, it's B1 all the way. What's up, Doc?
Well, everything is kind of cool, man. I'm just around here trying to get myself together. I talked to Dr. Short this week, and he talked me into doing a show with Eve. So, Eve, she does a lot of stuff on Twitter. So we're going to start. We're going to start this program on Wednesday evening. We're going to talk about give a little perspective,
cool.
on relationships. The first one we're going to do is love is a state of mind.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so, that's kind of like what we talked about last time with the mental.
Kind of. But see, this time it won't just be a man perspective. It'll be a man and a young woman perspective. I'm not going to tell you a lie, Yoshi. I'm a very nosy man. I used to think about my wife, because see, when your wife got young children, their sanctuary is the bathroom,
Right.
But see, that's the only place they can run away and get away from the kids, and the kids can't get in and bug them and say, "Mama this, Mama that, Mama this, Mama that." And I used to just think, what is she doing in there? That's kind of nosy, ain't it? But it's just that I'm serious. As a man, a lot of times, you wonder what be going on inside of a woman's mind. What makes them so, do the things they do. I don't understand.
I was
Tones,
like that as well. Yeah.
Tones Fire, what up?
What up, Tones?
And the basic thing is that we'll see what happens, because she has a pretty strong she has a strong following. She's always helping brothers out, like Juan B and other people. So we'll see what happens.
That's tight, man. I'm looking forward to that show, man. See what I'm saying, man? Yeah, that's tight. And she all on Instagram, you say, right?
Oh yeah, she's on Instagram a lot. She do a lot of those Instagram lives when I'm asleep. Her and Tariq Nasheed and the rest of them, they like to do their Juan B. They like to do their
they lives way late. Yeah,
they lives. Usually around 3 o'clock, 3:30. But see, the problem with me is that if I don't get to bed by 11, because I wake up usually by 4, I can't sleep. And if I go to bed at 12, then I won't be able to go to sleep, period. So I don't get anything. I don't know. Yeah. When you start getting 50, man, people don't sleep well. I remember one of my colleagues when I was teaching, her name was Ms. Poindexter, and she said, Dr. Winters, I can't go to sleep. I said, how old are you? She said, 54. I said, that's why. When you start getting in your 50s, it's hard to sleep. But anyway, family, we're going to talk tonight about the travels of the belt. The travels of the belt. The the belt has many tells, but it won't tell you any lies. You know, Yoshima, why don't you tell us about the belt?
Ooh, the belt, the method of disciplining your children. Yeah, discipline methods. From the whip, the switch, uh, to the belt. Have I don't know if anybody in the audience ever been whipped with extension cord. Back in the Gap, that's how they used to use physical punishment for their children. That's how they impose physical punishment. So that's from the post colonial perspective on how they used to discipline their children. But if we look at the African perspective on how we used to discipline our children, um, it was told to be a necessary discipline. It was not universal, but they said that well, you already know in our community we whip that ass. Uh, Me growing up, a butt whipping was much needed in many cases. So we looking at the historical versus what we go through right now as far as in some of the time periods and some context, some religious, it was basically religious leaders would whoop and discipline. I know y'all heard of what they call it, where they go into that room, Dr. Clyde, and they tell the Catholics do it. Would they get a Hail Marys?
The
And
confession.
confessions, yeah. So
Yeah.
this goes all the way to religious, to the bedroom, whipping, a good old fashioned ass whipping. That's what we're gonna talk about today, pretty much. And why is it needed, and basically where it derived from, where it come from. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I think that the belt is very interesting because in African societies, they don't use the belt. In African societies, you usually had to go through the process of choosing a stick, and
Right,
I think that grandma back in the day, grandma, my mom a little bit, but my grandma a lot of times when she got ready to spank you, rather than getting a belt, she would tell you, Clyde, go out and get me a switch,
go ahead and get a
you
switch.
know, and you want to try to find the right
Yeah, and,
tree,
and, and what's the right tree?
the right tree. I used to like the trees that I don't know the name of the trees, but they used to have green branches,
Mm,
and the green branches they wouldn't be knotty, you know. And since
mm.
they wouldn't be knotty, when grandma or my mom would want to spank you with the switch, it didn't hurt as bad. But you had to yell. Your mom said, "You ain't saying nothing." Hiya! Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
oh.
You had to. Hey, you better play that part, because if you ain't playing that part, harder, harder, harder,
Yeah,
harder. Yeah, 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 yeah. That whip. So my mother, she had stories about going and go get a switch.
yeah.
I never experienced that, so I don't know what it feel like to go pick your method of pain. I mean, it's
But I was surprised to find out that that's what they do in Africa. In Africa, when a parent wants to discipline you, they tell you to go and get a stick. And I was surprised at that tradition that my grandma and my mother sometimes had, but my grandmas they usually did this because I think they paid more to the traditions. And
Mhm.
I was surprised that when I started studying it, that when grandma would tell us to go get a switch, that was an African tradition because see, we're over here most of the time we're full of we have a lot of corporal punishment, and our punishment doesn't really relate to switches because see, I tell you, like when I was young in a sense, I wanted to help my mother out. I wanted to help her whip some ass, so I would I would go out and collect branches for her switches so she could whip some ass. And so and she
Ooh.
and my every time I would go find one, my mom would say, "Okay, Clyde. Oh, Clyde, thank you. Oh, God bless you. Oh, you
Come
did a good
on,
job."
man, for
And then,
real, you was that
yeah,
guy.
yeah, I was that guy. And she'd say, I'm gonna put these switches up on the top of the refrigerator. Thank you. I need these. Man, those switches will stay up there until I did something wrong, and she whipped my ass with
Backfired, yeah.
them. Parents back in the day, I tried to follow some of their stuff. But see, parents back in the day, they used to use a lot of psychology. Parents back in the day, they didn't want you telling on your brother or sister. They didn't want you telling. See, you might get a butt whooping for telling, unless something was really major, things like that. But see, but then, my mother and them, when it came to my father whooping us. Oh no, wasn't no switches. When my father had to whoop us, it was belts, and they used to choose the belts. They used to choose the belts. They used to sometimes look like they used to just buy special belts just to whoop ass. I don't know. What about your mom? What did she do when it came to belts and stuff?
See, my mom really didn't whoop me. It was always my dad. So she would
Okay.
get my dad to whoop me, and he had this one cowboy belt.
Oh wow.
And this belt was thick leather. It was about that thick of leather. And that belt right there had it. Hey man, some war wounds on that belt. So I remember at one time he went in the room and my cousins was in there. Man, that man made me feel all kinds of funny in front of them. Because you think you're all tough in front of your cousin. You fighting with them, but then he came in that room and he said, "You did this and did that." I was like, "Yeah." He got my hand so I wouldn't leave, and then he got that belt. First, I had on jeans,
Yeah.
and he whooped me right through them jeans. Bah, 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 right in front of him. I felt every lick. So I always got whipped with that belt. That belt was something else. Don't put your hand down there, because then you're gonna get them all on your arms and everything. Ooh, you just want it on your tush. That's exactly what.
Then, like when you knew you was gonna get a whooping, at least when I knew I was gonna get a whooping, I would sometimes try to find a book or something, and put it in my underwear and stuff. Yeah, my underwear, my pants. Then they whoop me on the leg. Then put something on the leg, whip me on the ass. Parents were very creative. But just like one of my sons, he cracked me up because see, a lot of times they'll say, "Pops, you whooped us when he was growing up." I said, "But I was at work. How did I know you messed up?" "Yeah, you used to whoop us." I said, "How did I know you got in trouble?" "You gave us a whooping." I said, "But how did I know to give you a whooping, man?" See, they never go to mama. They don't understand. Mama be the one to be telling you to do the whipping and stuff. And but then mom is always the angel. Oh, mama.
I had a different. I got whooped so bad that, man, I mean, they'd be crying and be like, "Man, I hate you. I hate that dude." And you get to doing all that. My whips was I pretty much got beat in some cases. So it was a thin line between the butt whooping and then to the point where you're getting beat and going to school and being light skinned and you can't wear shorts because you got wet marks all on your legs or stuff like that because the teachers ask questions. So my aunt and my grandma used to always intervene. "Why you let that man whoop him so hard? Why you let him beat him so much? Why you?" My mother would be like, "All right, well, I gotta calm it down a little bit because I guess sometimes it get out of hand."
But I think a lot of it goes back to slavery, man. It goes back to that slavery thing in the sense is that if we came from a tradition in Africa of pick the stick and Aboriginal people, in a sense, they didn't usually whip you with a stick. Most Aboriginals were more cognitive. What I mean by cognitive approach is that most how you doing, Doriel? Most of the Aboriginal people, they wanted the kid to think about what he'd done. They wanted them to work those things out.
Right.
And so then I think that that's also, in a way, I think that's probably what African people would do too when they told you to go out and get a switch, because that would make you think about, hey, why did you do this? And then you had to take ownership. And I think that that's the hardest thing in terms of spanking your children. And using a belt or anything else is that you want them, in a sense, to realize that when you're spanking them, it's not because you want to spank them. It's because of the fact, in a sense, you want them to think about what you're going to do. And I think they're always afraid that you're going to get in trouble and that you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, I mean but to me, it sometimes it can get overboard. You know, I guess it's a psychological thing too. Because in my day, um, it was real big on TV shows, comedy, talking about I'm gonna beat you like my stepchild, or I that's kind of where I kind of come in at, because I was a stepson, so my cousins would kind of tease me, and
Okay.
they would kind of get in my head and be like, "Man, that ain't even your daddy." Greetings, Rhonda. What's up? And they'll get in your head, and I guess it would trigger something within me to be like, "Dang, is
Yeah.
he really doing this?" So, the manipulation, like I said before, with the parents are trying to discipline a child, and then you have the auntie and the grandmother that's kind of intervening, saying that's too much, or that's
Mhm.
he doing too much. So I don't know if you ever had that intervene where people are trying to get inside your household on how you discipline your children.
Not really. Dorville said extension cord was my mother's choice. Tones 5 says I definitely got the switch, the belt, and the extension cord.
See?
But Karen Van Zen, she brought up a very good. Doesn't Japan have public whippings? They do have public whippings, but I think that when it comes to the children, they have them do a cognitive approach. When they want them to think about it, you're going to be punished, but they want you to think about it. But I remember this whole idea of my son. One of my sons, his first wife had young children. And she would tell my son, they got a divorce, but she would tell my son to whip her children. I said, you better not, don't you touch the damn kids, I'll whip your ass. I was still kind of young and strong. I still had my football voice before I got fat. But anyway, I was just joking when I said, man, don't whip her children, because you're not their father. And because you're not their father, you shouldn't really do that, because all you're going to do is have them hate you. And even to this day, one of his stepchildren, he got killed in Mississippi, but the other stepchild to this day still look up to him and respect him. And I think they look up to him and they respect him because the fact, in a sense, is that he understood that you don't be whipping these children. But like I said, is that we had so many whippings. I think that whole process of slavery, when the driver used to beat our ass and the European would beat our ass, I think that when they was whipping us with those whips, I think that instilled in many of our parents this whole idea that you had to be kind of brutal in terms of disciplining your children. What do you think?
Well, you bring up that point on taking it to that extreme, and what got in my head was when you hear about the white folks, when they go and the kids, and they go and like shoot up schools and shit, and then you
Mm-hmm.
like, why the parents ain't disciplining them? They need a good old fashioned ass whooping. My wife, she works at one of the like alternative schools, and she say a lot of them in there have a lack of discipline at home,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them need a good old fashioned ass whooping.
Kind of.
So there's limits to it, and you're right about that. It's a trait that we have taken over from um, being beat, in a sense, and looking
Beat.
at
Yeah, that's a good word.
beat,
Beat.
beat,
Yeah.
and transmitting that into a sense of
Yeah.
discipline. So, and the whole concept of black people being immune to pain.
Oh,
So
ah.
our people being beat more. Yeah, touch on that, Doc. Yeah,
How
yeah.
you doing, chemistry? Black Magic, Rhonda.
What's
What
up,
up,
chemistry?
do?
What's up?
But
What's up?
you brought up a very important point. Is that even up to this day, they've done studies and research, and doctors felt that because our skin was melanated, they felt that our skin was too thick to absorb in the sense pain. That's one of the reasons why often in a sense when they would whip one of the slaves, they might get some brine or they might get some salt water and they would add salt water, brine, or whatever to the whipping so that they can make sure, in a sense, that they could really cause maximum pain. And see, and even to this day, many of our women, my wife, my wonderful one, she used to be a real soldier. Whenever she was in the hospital in labor, she would never say a word. She would never say a word of stuff. Those other people in saying, "You dirty mother," "Oh, you no good God," all type of stuff, cussing. I don't know if you was ever with your wife before she had a baby, and maybe your wife was too. But a lot of times, when I read the literature today, I find that a lot of women complain because of the fact that their doctors don't feel that they should give them anything for pain and stuff like that. They
Yes.
don't
My
feel that
mother,
they should.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they don't feel they should give them anything for pain, and so these things still exist. But I think on the plantation, because of the fact that the plantation was so brutal, and and
Yes.
and I think it was that, and I think that our parents, our grandparents, and others, they felt in the sense that a whipping was very important. Okay,
Hmm.
uh, Dorel says that I think the village whipping concept needs to come back
Mm.
because the children today are off code. Yeah, they're off code.
Ooh, they off
But
cold.
I was doing a conference once in Kansas City. I think it was Kansas City, Kansas. Okay,
Hmm.
because Kansas City, Kansas City, Missouri is right across the way. And so then my daughter, and my wife came with me, because I had a real nice grant. We had a real nice grant from Annenberg, so it paid for the hotel and everything. So I brought my
Hmm.
wife and my daughter and her son, and so her son, in a sense, uh, he was crying. He was crying in the thing. And so then so we said, KK, why don't you take D into the washroom and kind of talk to him a little bit, as a code word to spank him. Then one
See.
then somebody heard us. Somebody said, "Don't you do that."
Mm.
They said, "Don't you do that," because they said, "Here, if you spank your child, they're going to arrest you."
Yeah.
You see, and so then we had to let him go, but he wasn't a bad child, and so but that time D was crying, but the point is this, is that this whole idea, how do we move away, and yeah, Dorvell, you're right, it is a lot of kids, they do need to have a whipping, but the point is this, is that today many of the women don't really feel that they should whip their children.
Yes.
One of the reasons that they don't want to whip their children, I think, is because often they feel very they feel very sad, and they also feel that it's complicated because they feel, in the sense, that they're neglecting their child by working. Hi, Raz 56Y Kush.
Peace. Peace.
Yeah, because see, a lot of times, because women go to work today, often women, in a sense, feel guilty, and because they feel guilty, instead of them, in a sense, really disciplining their children, they feel that they want to give their children a lot more than they really deserve. They want to give their children a lot more things than they really need.
Now, my mother will always say the reason why she spoiled me was because she wanted to give me everything she never had. So even we could go as far as discipline. Her discipline methods was different than how she was growing up because she felt like her parents was real hard on her. So with me, I'm gonna be a little bit more lenient with him, and then which had me to go and be a little bit more lenient with my son. So it's a
Mhm.
trickle effect, you
Yeah.
know.
But it's all. I think it all depends on the child, because one of my children, my second son,
Hmm.
he was the type of person, he was the type that if somebody did something to him, hit him, he would want to hit him back, even with his brothers. Sometimes I would be Jules was about a quarter mile away, so I would walk to Jules. I would come around the corner, he'd be beating somebody's ass. I say, "Stop, get up." I said, "Get up, stop, and get up."
He
What?
beating
He hit
somebody
me.
up.
He hit me. I said, "Man, don't do it." And he was the one who got most of the spankings, you see.
Mm,
And
okay.
and and the thing is, this is that, but a lot of times you feel that you shouldn't do that because you don't want to cower down your child. Karen Vincenti said we were afraid for her to be mad. We did what she said. She worked so hard. If she got mad, that was it. My sister usually got the whipping for talking back. Yeah, it's always one of the bunch. The rest, but the only problem is that the go along kid, what we do with the go along kid, not me so much. Anyway, not me, but the go along kid. The go along kid. We don't usually we demand too much from them because the go along kid, because of the fact we're not going to get an argument, we have a tendency to make them do most of the work around the house. We have a tendency to maybe, in a sense, put more pressure on them than they really deserve. But that belt is so hard. Go ahead.
That go along kid. So that's what that is. The go along. That's
Yeah,
what
the
I
go along
was.
kid.
Hey, you just taught me something. Let me call my mother.
Oh, what
What's going on?
you was trying to say, you let your sister get all the whoopings, huh?
Well, it was me and my little brother. I let him. I got all the whoopings, but I grew up to be the go along kid. Like I was told to do everything. Yeah, do this, do that. Why he don't have to do nothing? He don't know how to do it. Go
Yeah.
do this, do that. Hey, here in Orlando, Florida, we just had a principal that was arrested for corporal punishment, but he was later released and charges was dropped. So
Yeah.
a pastor principal was doing corporal punishment with a belt or with a one of them pallet things. I wonder what he was doing that with. That's
Yeah,
wild.
that'll be interesting. But up until let me tell you something.
Hmm.
I taught for the Chicago Public Schools for 46 years.
Mm-hmm.
I retired in 2016. I think it was around 2012 up to 2012, I think, or 2012, 2013, principals had the right to use corporal punishment on the children.
Wow.
Yeah. Because see, yeah, they did. And see, once they got rid of that law, all hell broke loose. Not that principals were going around, beating the kids and all that type of stuff, but it was just the idea that principals had that ability, Because see, when I was growing up, and even we told the kids, I don't know if they said this down in Texas, but we used to always tell the kids it was a whooping machine. The little kids, we tell them it was a whooping machine down in the down with the janitor and the engineer.
Wow.
We tell them it was a whooping machine downstairs, and so then that would scare them. But like when I was going to school, it was common when I was going to school. If you did something wrong, you'd have to hold your hand out, and the teacher would take a ruler and they would hit that hand, man. They would hit that hand. You see.
Wow.
But principals had the right that they could do that. But even when I was playing football, in a sense, a lot of times the coaches had paddles, See,
okay.
But the worst thing that ever happened to me was that when I was running track, one time my track coach said, "Come here, Clyde." And then he said, man, I felt so embarrassed. He just took 2 fingers. And all the guys looked at me and started laughing. I felt like a bitch. I'm sorry. Family, forgive me for cussing. I felt so embarrassed, man. I would have rather that he got the paddle and put it on the butt.
Yeah.
But the thing is that with my wife, you guys are talking about the ironing cord. When I got married, I tell you how when I was growing up, my parents made a big deal. My parents made a big deal about belts and whooping your ass and stuff like that. Okay. And so then when I got married, me and my wife, we had a talk. And so my wonderful one, and I said, baby, yeah, I said that, I got to get a nice belt because when the kids get older, I'm going to, probably whipping with the belt and I'm whipping with the ironing cord. She said, you're not whipping my kids with an ironing cord. I said, what are you talking about? I'm the dad. I can do whatever hell I want to do. Said, you're not whipping my kid with an ironing cord. I said, why not? I mean, I got whipped with ironing cord. I got whipped with belts. You're not whipping my kids with an ironing cord. So
you got whipped with an ironing cord before.
Yeah, maybe once or twice. Man, I got whipped with so many different belts. Sometimes they'd be real thick belts. Sometimes it'd just be the belt. Some belts with holes. I tell you, my family was connoisseurs in we're connoisseurs in terms of buying belts. And but my wife, and so she said, Clyde, you cannot whip them with ironing cords. And in fact, she said, this is it. She said, Clyde, you can whip them up until they get 13. Once they get 14, you can't even whip them anymore. I said, damn, leave me alone. I'm the dad. Dad, you're making me into a simp.
What's next? What's next after that?
I know. And so she said, but listen to me. She said, this is it. She said that you whip them till they're 13, and then you had to start to build up a friendship with your boys. Because I had 5 boys and 1 girl. And so then the thing is that I found out that she was right. Now today, my kids come talk to me. Some parents, their kids don't want to talk to them. Some kids don't want to be around their parents. You know, like how you said you grew up hating your stepfather. That could have been me too. Maybe if I would have been allowed to whip them with ironing cords and they go to school with webs and all that type of stuff. See, my kids, they didn't have the honor. They didn't have the honor of seeing webs. They didn't have the honor of seeing big webs on their legs and on their butt. But the funniest thing was my third son. He was really funny. So one day, he got in trouble. And I said, man, I got to whip your butt. So in the backyard, there was a tree. There was a tree in the middle of the backyard. Okay. So he ran out there and he ran out the house into the backyard. And he started running around the tree. Man, I started cracking up. I said, all I had to do is just grab him and whip his ass. I forgot to whip him, man. He running around in a circle in the tree. But my third son.
I know that was funny.
Oh yeah, my third son. I didn't whip him that much. They all claim I whipped him a lot. I said, well, it was your mama's fault. Okay. Because you feel that you feel very complicated about it. And the reason that you feel complicated about it is because the fact, in the sense, is that your kids, each one has to grow up. Each one has their own personalities, and each one is different. And it's very hard. It's very hard because, see, what happens when you're raising kids is that when you got more than one kid, your first kid is very adult-like. And the reason that your first kid is adult-like is because of the fact that when you're talking to your first kid, you had to talk to them a lot. You had to learn from them. Like I always tell my first son, I'm sorry I whipped your ass so much, but you were the first one, and you had two brothers coming behind you, and they had to see somebody getting their ass whipped to know, so I wouldn't have trouble with them. That's not a good excuse. It's not a good excuse.
That ain't no good excuse.
Sorry.
I would have been like, what?
I'm sorry. But the thing is this, so, it's psychological, man. I mean, because as your kids get older, sometimes they want to try to wrestle with you on the sly and all that type of stuff. Yeah. I remember one of my sons, he wanted to wrestle with me. So I wrestled with him. Then my wife looked at me like this. So I had to go, boom, 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 bam. And then she said, that's better. I mean, the thing is this, is that it's very hard because, see, this is what I think it is that growing up, my father did construction. Because my father did construction, I always looked at a man. I looked at a man based upon the fact that we're supposed to be strong. A man's supposed to be strong. I remember one day I was talking to my sister, and I used to like my sister is that my sister, she was older than me. And so sometimes she would want to hit me, and so she would so I would grab her arms, and then when she would want to hit me, I would bring them close to my face. And then I'd push her back. Then I'd bring them close to my face. Then I'd push her back. So one day, my father came home. He said, Clyde. He said, where's Clyde? So, I was laying on the bunk bed. I was reading. I was in high school at this time. So I was about 15? Had to be at least 180 pounds. So I was laying on the bed reading a book. Man, next thing I know, this old man, well, he wasn't old. He was about 35. Old man coming there, grabbed me by my feet and hit me between the damn bunk beds. Leave your sister alone. I said, hell, I'm not gonna mess with that old man no more.
Damn.
He did construction work. My old man, it was always strength. There's always strength. I always based everything on strength. Like even with my wife, when we was in high school and college, I used to let her, stand up on my stomach. I used to let her stand up on my stomach and jump up and down, you know, because I'd be strong.
Right.
And I knew I was old. I knew I was old when I got 60 and I couldn't pick her up. When I couldn't pick her up anymore, I knew I was old. But anyway, Karen Bazin said, I was this go-along kid. We had to cook and clean. My sister didn't do anything. She liked to go outside to play. She was so dumb not to come back home before my mom came home from work. Yeah, she wasn't that dumb, was she? She got home in time, in a sense, to get to fool your mom. But that's the whole point, is that when you're the go-along kid, you don't experience the belt. You experience the belt more. You experience a lot of complicated things, you know.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, you know. Let's we're gonna have a little interruption now. I'd like you guys to look at this.
Yeah. Shout out to Tons 5. We gonna it's a commercial for Brother Tons 5. He creates jewelry, y'all. So y'all check this commercial out. Real nice. Y'all catch him up on Instagram.
Oh.
Tons 5, you out there? What's up? Peace. Hotel B1 community. B1. There go brother right there.
She got me reaching for the top on my tippy toes. Jill Scott, she ain't messing with the jigger toes. Sister go touch her heart, put up dinner rolls. Shake the spirit one time, make it so. She gon' take me out of space into another zone. My spirit, she ain't messing with the pretty hoes. Microwaves and cold waters on her phone. Friday day, they ride and smoking good on the drone. I'll be eating down with the cuz all up in the front. First quit a brush, she gon' drop it low to the floor. You know she live with gold with the alchemy in the bowl. She be super soda, the greatest I never told. She gon' get you right, you set up when you go.
Y'all check that brother out, man. Check him out, man. Hold up. Tons 5. Y'all see him right there. Indigenous jewelry, baby. Tribal jewelry. Yes. Indigenous tribal jewelry. Y'all check him out. He does all that from scratch. He would design and create everything from scratch. Check him out. Brother go hard. Man, y'all go up on his Instagram. That was his song, too. Me and him got a song up on YouTube. Y'all check that out as well. Great Divine. We got a video for it. So y'all check out all our content. I got some new music up on Gumroad. Y'all go subscribe to my Gumroad. And if y'all subscribe, y'all gonna get a whole mixtape that no one will ever hear ever, because once it's over, it's over. I'm taking it out. So y'all better get it while the getting is good, because once this stuff start pushing, some of that stuff's gonna be very hard to find. I want to take y'all on a journey with me though. But yeah, that was Tons 5. Man, look, the video is up on YouTube. Commercial. I just created it. Came from Yoshi Productions. Appreciate you, Dr. Clyde, for sharing that with the world, man. Yeah.
Well, the point is this: is that again, you know, he can do the same for you. He did the introduction to the show. He does the introduction to my Thursday show, and so this brother's one of the hardest working brothers in the business. So you know, get him to
independently, y'all.
That's right. You know, check him out. His rates are pretty good.
Straight
and
up.
So you know, check him out and share the share the wealth and allow him, in a sense, to help you to make money. See, one thing that many Black people don't understand. And I'm gonna tell you what this is. What many Black people don't understand is that it's enough money for everybody. See, some people don't understand is that don't try to hog all the money. Share the money. How you doing, Timbo? But then back to what we were let's get back to what we're talking about. Is that so when you're dealing with trying to figure this out, we have this complicated history, and see, no matter what we do, so many things are always being forced on us, and it's being forced on us because of the fact in a sense is that we went through that slave experience.
Yes.
We went through that slave experience. Yeah, and that slave experience, in a sense, has instilled in us this desire to harm our children. That's sad. I think it's very sad that you want to harm your children. Mm-hmm. But the thing is this, is that it's very difficult. I know my son, my oldest son, he always told me, he said, I'm not going to whip my child like you whip me. And I said, that's fine. I said, you have to do what you want to do. Because I said, I had to make a decision. You had to make a decision with your wife. And so when you would come over his house in the living room, it was a big old spot where his daughter would always put crayons and stuff like that and draw in it. Okay. It was a very obvious nasty spot. So one day I came over and I said, hey man, what happened to the spot? He said, I whooped her ass. I said, oh. I thought you said you wasn't gonna whoop her. Well, right. I didn't spank her hard, but it was gone.
I had a traumatic experiences. I had two of them I want to talk about. So one of them with three. One time my mom got me, so she didn't whoop me. I'm gonna tell y'all what she did. So one day, I think I had some bad grades, and that's kind of that was one of my pet peeves. You can't whoop me smart. Like if I had a bad grade, that whooping is not gonna make me get a B tomorrow. I was not that kind of child. So my dad was on the couch, and I'm crying. My mama already told me that he's gonna whoop my ass. She said you gonna hear from him when he get home. So he came home, and I'm already crying. And he say, what's going on? So then she talked to him, and then he say, I stand right. He sit down, and I stand right in front of him. He said, so what happened? Well, this, and then that, and then I made a bad grade, and I don't want to get whooped. I don't want to get whooped. And so he said, oh, it's all right. I ain't gonna whoop you. You go ahead and go to your bed. You go to sleep. I'm not gonna whoop you. You ain't got nothing to worry about. So I went, and I took, when I used to go to bed back then, I was probably around about 8 years old. I had a bunk bed. I used to be at the top bunk bed, and I used to have no shirt on with my little white tighty whities on. That's how I used to sleep. All right, so I'm in there snug, feeling real good. I'm like, oh man, no whooping. Oh yeah, this is tight. By 3 a.m, the covers just disappeared. The belt appeared out of nowhere. Pa, 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 pa. Yeah. I'm waking up out my sleep, just dying. And then he said, you better make some better grades, or whatever the hell he kind of said. And then he walked off, and I was traumatized. I was like, fuck, I'm not even safe in my sleep. This was scary to me. All right. That was that time. Another time, I remember I got a whooping, and he made me take my pants off. Mm-hmm. And because I remember I did like what you did. So one time I put like 4 pair of pants on, 4 pair of jeans, and I put all the jeans on. And I remember he had me drop every layer down to my tighty whities. And ooh, did he have fun whooping my butt then? Yeah. So my mother, all right, my mother didn't whoop me, right? So she used to do this like silent treatment thing, like a mental silent treatment. Ooh, I had, what's up, the Jew? Yeah, what's up? So my mother, she did this silent treatment, right? And the silent treatment effed me up. So she just wouldn't talk to me. So she'll be like, oh, so you messed up, huh? So that's how you gonna do it? All right. Don't ask for nothing. When she say don't ask for nothing, it was nothing. You couldn't ask for nothing. Ooh, that used to drive me crazy. I mean, my mind used to go so many places. I'd rather just get the butt whooping. like I used to tell her, no, you can whoop me. I'm cool with the whooping. Just talk to me. I mean, that was the turning point of butt whoopings to me. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of cool with a butt. I didn't think nothing was worse than a butt whooping. Hey, ignore me. That was worse than a butt whooping. Can't hear you, Pop. Can't hear you. Where you at?
Oh no, I was talking to
Oh, okay.
my
All right.
grandson. But but the thing is this, that I never wanted to give people a
Yes.
surprise. Never want to give kids a surprise, but a lot of times, when I would have parent conferences, and a lot of times the parents would come and they say, well, Dr. Winters, I'd like you to spank my child. You got my permission to spank him. I said, well, I'm not going to spank your child because that's a lawsuit. And I said, my wife like our house, and yeah, I need to maybe get her a new one, but I don't want you to take it. But I said, this is what I would tell them. I would say, you're your child's mom. You're not like the dad. See, as a dad, a child is always used to, in a sense, either listening or not listening to his father. But I said, as a mom, you have a greater ability to get your child to do what you want them to do by not whooping them, but by sitting down and talking to them and letting them know that they hurt your feelings. They said, what are you talking about, Dr. Winters? I said, because see, a child does not like to hurt his mama's feelings. They don't mind hurting their daddy feelings, but they don't like to hurt their mama's feelings. And I said that you can get greater control over your children, and you can get your children to behave better by making them understand that they hurt your feelings. See, moms rarely show, if ever, any type of thing to their children. Go ahead, you wanted to say something.
No, you were absolutely right, because that's what by my mother ignoring me, she hurt my feelings. My feelings was crushed. I couldn't talk to the only person that understood me.
Yeah.
My feelings was broke. It's like she was like, man, don't even say nothing to me. And I was like, yeah. That felt real bad. So I truly understand what you're saying. That mental, when you get in their head, the child's head, and you really make them understand and grasp what they got going on, and where they failed at. And I teach my son, I say, what you're doing is you're learning from your experience. What's up, Bruce? What's up? B1, baby. Yeah. So yeah. So what I teach my son is learn from your experiences. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go through a series of experiences. In these experiences, you're gonna either have to learn from it, and if you don't learn from it, it's gonna come back again, and you're gonna have to face that experience again. And it all matters on if you learned from it or not. Will you go through that experience that you have experienced before? So I teach my son that. So this is all an experience. You're gonna learn from this experience. If you learn from it, the next time it come around, you'll know how to avoid it. You'll know how to work it. You'll know how to move through it. So I kind of teach him that. Now, one discipline that I did with him, because I was that father that I didn't want to whoop him. Because one time I was about to whoop him, right? He was like 4 years old, right? And he was due for a spanking. My mom was like, well, you ought to spank him. You ought to spank him. Spank that little tail. Spank that little tail. No, I ain't going to spank him. Man, one time he made me mad. He did something. And I was ready to spank him. And I got my belt. And it was the same belt my dad used to use on me.
Historical belt.
Yeah, I kept it. Yeah, that's historical. Me and him, we threw that belt away together. We said no more spankings, right? We shook on it. I said no more butt whippings with this. We stood and threw it in the trash together. But before that day, we was in the living room, and I had socks on, and we had carpet floors, and the kitchen had marble floors, right? So he did something, and I got that belt, and he took off running. And he was fast, right? And I ran right after him. Yeah. And I hit that corner in that kitchen, and I said, boom! Hey, man, I fell right on my whole side.
Oh, no.
I just laid there with the belt in my hand, and I just laid there. And you know what? I said, I never should have went after him and with this belt and ran like, I mean, look at me. I look like Tom and Jerry, you know?
You getting all tired and stuff, but my wife, we talked about it, and my wife said that my wife felt that you shouldn't whip a kid under 5,
Mm,
because she felt in a sense that kids under 5 they don't really comprehend. I
mm,
don't know, but
mm,
but I went along with it. But the thing is, this is that I'm ashamed to say, family, is that I'm ashamed to say that I taught I had to substitute a second grade class once because one of the other teachers didn't come in and we couldn't get a substitute teacher. And so then I was in the class with those kids, and I said to myself, "Damn, why?" I said this kid is in second grade. That means they're
mm,
7 years old.
mm,
And I was thinking while I was watching them, I said that I think of them as little adults, but that if that was my 7 year old, I would expect a teacher to see that that's my child as a 7 year old who I think doesn't understand and know everything. But I said as a teacher, I feel that I should treat them in a sense as little adults, and I think that's really sad in a sense is that we don't understand, especially young teachers. When young teachers start teaching black children, they don't understand that to really get a real good effect from black children, number one, you can't let them feel that you're afraid of them. That doesn't mean that you have to be torturous. And number two, you got to show some love with them. You have to sometime in a sense, touch them. I'm not, touch them on the shoulder,
mm.
touch them on the arm. Hey, that was good. You got in a sense, you
Right.
got in a sense help a kid out because
Encourage.
see, yeah, because see, as I got older, I started seeing that you get more out of children when you use a cognitive approach. And what I feel in a cognitive approach is that you have to allow the child, in a sense, to think about what they're doing. You had to allow the child, in a sense, to see that there's a better way. But I think the good thing about you, Yoshi, is that what you did, nobody had to tell you. My wife had to tell me
Mm,
that I should sit back and not be the way my parents was. But it
mm.
looked like you were able, in a sense, to realize that maybe you shouldn't follow in the path of your stepfather. What helped you to see that? I didn't see it until my wife talked to me.
My
What
mom
helped you to
want
see it?
my wife wanted to whoop ass. So
Yeah.
my wife was like very disciplined. She was
Uh,
like, nah, even if he 2 years old, get that little hand, spank that little thigh. Stop. Nope, you ain't finna do that. No, you ain't finna do that. So she was very into discipline. It was that it was one night, um, I remember I used to get beat a lot with my by my stepdad, like whoop real bad. For like I said,
mhm,
bad grades to me was unnecessary butt whoopings. You know, that was my whole thing. You couldn't beat me to be smart. Like you can't beat a good grade out of me. Um that was one of my pet peeves, and the thought of talking back, me asking a question was talking back. My dad was old school, very old school. So I couldn't be open with him to talk, to ask a question. Why am I, what's up, King of Dreams? What's up? What's up? B1, baby. So it was one of them things. Why am I getting whooped? Why do I got to get punished like this? And that was talking back. So I got another whooping on
mhm,
top of that. That changed my perspective on how to raise my
yeah,
son. So I got whooped so bad one night. I I talked to God, and I said, God, no more. When I have a kid, I don't never want to get whooped. I don't never want to whoop my child. I don't when I have a
mhm,
kid, I don't want him to even feel a belt or her or whatever. So when I had my son, that's kind of how I approached it. I didn't want to whoop him. The spankings with my wife, that was kind of like, she was like, all right, that's how far you take it. But with the belt, I remember I did whoop him with that belt, and I felt like, damn, I could just talk to this dude. So I went online, right, and I looked at different ways to approach whooping. I was at work, and I was doing CNC machinery. So I'm working this machine, and I'm putting objects in it, and I'm working on it's a CNC machine where it's a press machine, a press. Um, and I'm talking to one of the welders, old school guy named Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer used to be an ex-football player, so he was every last bit of 6'5", big dude. And I said, "Do you whoop your kids?" He said, "No, no, I don't whoop. I don't whoop them, but I do punish them." So I said, "What do you do?" He said, "I make them stand in a corner, right, and I make them hold books. Peace, brother. Peace, brother. Let's talk. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's talk too." And I make them hold books, and they got to hold the books up for a long period of time until they get tired, and they got to steady hold the books up. Got to have their head straight and everything for however many minutes. And he said that's a lot of punishment for a child. And I did that with my son, and it kind of worked. But what I noticed with my son that was different than me was his comprehension skills. He can comprehend things better than I could. So when I whooped him, when I used to spank him, I used to spank him. When I spanked him, I would let him know what he did wrong, and then me and him would talk. The comprehension, he had a different comprehension than me. I allowed him to ask questions rather than when it was me and my dad. With me and my dad, I asked a question on why I would get another whooping, and all I wanted to know was what was the reason. Like, if you're gonna whoop me, is there the solution to a bad grade is a whooping? You have to make that make sense to me, because if you're gonna whoop me and after this whooping I'm gonna get a straight A, then this works.
Yeah.
But by you whooping me and I'm still C's and D's, this is not effective. It's not effective.
But see, you were using a cognitive approach, and that's the thing. It is that is this whole communication thing. And see, that's one of the reasons that I think my wife wanted me to when I was dealing with my sons to spank them, but also be there to talk to them. And see, I think that one of the reasons why many people don't get along, how people can't make things really go smoothly, is that we're afraid. We're afraid in a sense to really relax and really in a sense, admit, like with my kids, if I made a mistake, I'd say I'm sorry. I would say I'm sorry if I made a mistake. If I said something abusive, I would come back and maybe say, I'm sorry I said that. I went a little bit off. You're not that type of person. But see, I'm happy because see, that gave me a cognitive approach. It allowed me in a sense to be a human being to your child. Just like with my grandma, if you said the wrong thing, that mouth, you got that slap. Good thing that they make teeth strong. You wouldn't have any teeth. And because see, grandma didn't want you talking back. No. Grandma and them didn't want you to ask questions.
Well, what's talking back? See, let's get to it. So now that's where we're going. Let's go to the root. Like how you said, talking back and asking questions.
That's questions. See, you don't want no questions.
See, you don't want no questions.
They don't want questions. They don't want
none.
questions.
None at all. So even with, go ahead with your kids.
How do you get to be? Well, my kids, if they had questions, I go ahead and answer it. I still might whoop your ass, but I'll go ahead and we talk about it. But see, what I noticed in school, what I noticed, kids got to be bad. Kids got to be known as being bad in school. Because see, the kid who asks questions, I always in my classroom, I always allow my students to ask me questions.
Okay.
But in a lot of classrooms, especially a lot of teachers, they feel threatened when a kid asks them questions because they feel that if they can't answer the question, then that's going to make them look bad. Even when I was in college, I never asked women questions unless you knew that you never asked female professors questions unless you knew that they could answer it. Never ask them. Don't ask them no questions that they couldn't answer. They were going to make your life miserable. And I learned that from the fact that by teaching elementary school and secondary school, teaching high school, middle school, I found that a lot of teachers didn't want you to ask questions. And if you were that kid that asked the questions, Now, the one you was going to be a gangbanger later because you was going to feel that nobody listens to you. Nobody knows who you are. You know, nobody in a sense wants to respect you. How you doing, JP? It's natural for kids to ask questions. That's naturally curious. You're absolutely correct. It is naturally curious. But to the teacher, you feel in the sense that they're threatening you. You feel that they're threatening you, you know. And because you feel they're threatening you, then a lot of times you wanna really deal with that. Go travel abroad. What you're talking about is control and correction. I think parenting is about seeking influence versus control. You got a very good point there, and you're absolutely correct. But see, the point is this: is that some parents don't understand. See, the biggest thing that hurts most parents is that they don't understand in the sense is that you're not out to really control your kids. What you're out to do is that you want them to grow up. See, it's just like and what I felt. I felt that sometimes I had to let my kids ask me questions. I felt that sometimes I had to let my kids, in a sense, even maybe get smart. Sometimes I had to let them get smart because I wanted my sons to be able to speak up for themselves, Now, one of my sons, my knee baby, now he would always take it too far. He didn't know how to be respectful all the time to other people, you know. But I mean, hey, you know, he's smart, you know, and things like that. But he didn't know, I didn't feel that he knew how to sometimes just don't really threaten adults because adults feel threatened when you ask them questions, you see. And go travel abroad, you may think in a sense that this is something that's fun. No, it's not fun. But see, you're going over a thin line. And that thin line is that should you whip their ass with that belt? Or should you talk to them? Or should you allow them to really even question you? And see, that's the one thing that I felt that I was going to do. I wasn't going to be like my grandma and them. Yeah, grandma and them and my aunties, because the first thing they were going to do if you asked them a question or you talk back or you like I used to, well, you can see how fat I am now. When I was little, when my grandma would be cooking cookies, I would kind of get to the table, kind of grab one. Pow!
Good old fashioned cookies, man. What?
Oh yeah, man, my grandma could cook her ass off. She used to be cooking for them white folks. Shit. I know they had some great meals until my grandma retired. And so I felt that I'm not going to be like that. I felt that I was going to, if my kids had questions, I was going to answer their questions. You know, in fact, that man went too far because I even talk about the metaphysical stuff and all these different things, you know, because I felt that I was building warriors. I felt that I was raising 5 sons. I was raising 5 sons in the sense that was going to fight in the Black Revolution.
Straight up, yeah.
Now my oldest in his 50s, damn hell, it ain't came yet. But I was getting them ready to fight in the revolution, baby. I wanted them to be ready to go. You know, I was thinking earlier today when I woke up, I said, damn, I said that I wanted to join the military. I would have joined the military if I wouldn't have fell in love and married a beautiful woman. I should have married an ugly woman. If I'd have married an ugly woman, then I would have wanted to leave.
Join the military, huh?
Yeah, I would have joined the military, and then I could see her off and on. Then she wouldn't have got on my nerves. But my wife was too beautiful because I always felt that I was going to go in the military, and I wanted to you know, I was in ROTC, so I wanted to carry a BAR. A BAR is a Browning automatic rifle. You know, it's like a machine gun. I just knew I was going to be in Vietnam. I was going to be blasting something in Vietnam, baby. Then I talked to my wife, and I wanted to go. Then the Angola conflict came up. I said, baby, I got to go over to Angola. I got to help the brothers fight. She said, you don't know no damn Portuguese. I said, no, but I'm going to be ready to fight. I got to fight. Yeah, she said, you going to leave my beautiful ass? You going to leave me and your kids? I said, well, I'll be sending you the money. She said, you ain't going nowhere, nigga. I said, well, she said that I couldn't go. But I was ready. But the thing is this, is that when you're dealing with kids, you have to listen to them. You have to agree with them. Like my sons, I always hug my sons. I kiss them, you know, kiss them on the cheek, hug them a lot, you know, because the fact in the sense I want them to know that they were loved, you know, and I think that no matter what my kids can say now, I did at least try to listen to them.
Did
and they
your
can do
father do
whatever.
that with you? With
My,
like, did
my
he?
father, my father was an affectionate guy. He kind of would listen in a way, but see, my father, in a sense, we talked sometime, but he was a hoe. So I mean, you know, he would come home. He would come home every night, but sometimes, I mean, man, hey, he was out there. Like I tell you this, my father used to take me everywhere with him. I
Really?
guess because I was named after his father, Clyde, and so I'm
Okay.
named after his father. So he used to take me everywhere with him. So one day I came back, and so my mom said, "Where'd y'all go?" I said, "Oh, we went over Miss So and So's house, and whoops, I didn't get to go no more.
That
I
was
didn't get
it,
to
huh?
go no more yet." But my old man, I love him. I miss him so much, man. He taught me so much.
And you
He
knew
told
your
me
grandfather, huh?
there wasn't no grandfathers around back in those days,
I
man.
remember you said that. So you never met your grandfather. You
Oh
never
no,
met your dad's dad.
nope. And then we never saw any other It wasn't no grandfathers around. I always felt they got killed playing dice or doing some other
Yeah.
stupid shit.
Did you hear any stories of your grandfather? Was he a
Yeah, jumping
loving
out of
man? He
my
wasn't.
father talked about him jumping out of bedrooms and stuff and hiding under
Oh,
porches when they got caught with being with them women.
the hoochie coochie man.
That's right. Hey,
So yeah, he passed down the black book to your dad and gave you the black book, taught you the
yeah.
black book. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was a bad I was a bad son. I was a bad son. I was satisfied with my wife, you know.
Right. You didn't go that route. You stopped at 19. So yeah, you weren't able to go that whole black book
I
route.
could have, but it was plenty before then. But I could have kept going. But see, the thing is, this I understood right away is that the only difference between the women is one up and one down, if you know what I mean. And
Gotcha.
so then, and the thing is, this is that I found that I was always praying to God to give me somebody to love. So when I knew I loved her, that was it for me. But my brothers, you know, even today, you know, I mean, hey, it's just the winner's magic. Even today, my
Yeah, which one of your brothers took on that legacy, making dad proud? It
oh, that
wasn't
was
you.
I had two of them.
Okay.
My oldest brother, and my other brother, you know. He's still a player today, man. He's
Man, we need
still
to get him. We need to get him on the phone, man. We need to get him online, man. I'm pretty sure he got some Mac
he got
stories to tell,
hey,
man.
he's 60 years old and still pulling 35-year-olds,
Hold
man.
on, man.
He's 60 years old,
Hold
still
on.
pulling 35
I believe it. I
year olds,
believe it. I
and
believe it.
ain't got no money.
Ain't got no money. Don't tell Larry goddamn. You see, are you cock blocking?
No,
Tell
he
right
got
now. Don't do that.
the
They
whole
gonna
thing is
watch
this.
this show and
It
they
don't
gonna be
matter.
like,
It don't matter. They watch the show. The man got game. The man got game. He understood what my brother said. My brother taught me.
oh snap.
He said, Clyde,
Uh,
if you ever get in trouble,
mm,
if you ever need a way
uh,
out, remember, you
mm-hmm.
find you a nurse,
Yep.
a
Teacher.
teacher,
Mm-hmm.
or a beautician.
Oh
See,
yeah.
you know, that's right. The balloons can fly,
Balloons
baby.
can fly, baby. Yeah,
I
man.
don't know.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. The whole point is is that
All
my
right.
wife helped me to understand, and I think she helped me to raise some good kids, but she helped me to have some kids in the sense that I have a relationship, just like you. What you're doing with your son, Yoshi, is that you're trying to build a relationship.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
this is it. You can have a son, you can have a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
you can have a wife,
Mm-hmm.
or you can have a husband. But you know, it's a little bit better when your wife can be your friend. It's a little bit better when your children can be friends.
I
See,
love that.
you
A
know,
lot of my friends in a relationship, their wife is not their friend. I have
yeah,
worked in many jobs where I have worked with Mexicans, I've worked with us, and a lot of them, like I said before, when they get off work, the 10-hour to 12-hour shifts, they don't want to go straight home. They're trying to go to the bar. Yeah, jumping out of the bedroom windows. Yeah, Karen. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But
my
yeah, these
father.
these men don't want to do none of that.
I was
Yeah.
down in Mississippi, man. You couldn't jump out no windows in Chicago.
Yeah. But
But see,
Mississippi.
but I'm glad I wasn't a gas man. But the most important thing is that when you're raising your children, You want to teach them to understand to be B1. You want them to understand that they should love each other. You want them to understand in a sense is that I tried to help my sons. They did whatever they wanted to do, and they had all the women they wanted. But the point is this: I wanted to tell them is that you want to be friends with your wife. You want to be friends
You do.
because by being friends, you have something to talk about. Because see,
Yes.
no matter how, I don't care how young you are or how
Mm-hmm.
old you are. Sometimes you can have things on your mind where you're not going to feel like having intercourse, or you're not going to feel like
True.
being bothered. And sometimes you
True.
need somebody to talk to.
You do.
What I miss most about my wonderful one is sometimes at the midnight hour just talking about things, just talking about life, talking about reality, just talking.
Yes.
And see,
Open
when
up. Open
yeah,
up.
because see, what did do the Bible say? When the Bible says that the word is creation, the word is creation. See,
Mm-hmm.
and when you can talk to your child and you can relate to your child, sometimes you have to give in. Like when I was growing up, I didn't cuss around my parents, my aunties, none of them. But my
Mm-hmm.
kids, if they want to cuss, I mean they can cuss. I
Mm-hmm.
cuss, and but see that was something. So I guess each generation makes changes in a
Makes
sense.
changes. Yeah.
Each generation does different things, and so then the problem is this, Yoshi. The problem is this, family, is that when you're raising your children, or even when you're trying to be yourself, sometimes you have to do things in a sense to make life easier. Because see, no matter who you are, and see, the cat wrote a beautiful book,
What's up, a cat?
and 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 and
Travel abroad.
and then she wrote a beautiful book, and it's called The Mother's Womb. And in this book, she gives you exercises on
Mm-hmm.
how to overcome some of the trauma. Because see, our mothers, no matter how much they loved you or how good they were, they did leave us with some trauma. Most of our
Yep.
mothers, sometimes our fathers too. And
Mm-hmm.
what makes in a sense a mother's womb so important is that she gives you exercise that can help you to overcome that thing. Maybe one day, you know, uh, I'm not gonna say anything because until it's done, because
Mm-hmm.
then you say things and then it don't happen, and people be looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to it. But the thing is this: is that we have to understand that the belt, even when you think about it, when you go back and you said that when you got the belt, why did you decide to take the belt and you and your son throw it away together? Why did y'all do that?
Because we wanted to end that cycle, and even after that, I still whooped his ass again. But
Hmm.
that was a major moment for us in that time because he didn't get no butt whooping in like to about 4 or 5 years later.
Hmm.
But
But I mean, what was the significance?
it
What was
it
the
meant the world.
significance of throwing that belt?
It was like
You didn't throw it away. You had him go with you to throw it away. What
right,
made
right.
that so significant, though?
Because it was I got whooped with that belt. That belt still had old blood stains on it. Um, it was I closed the chapter in my book with me and my father. So I when we threw away that belt, I forgave my father for all them ass whoopings, the unnecessary butt whoopings. I forgave him, and my son was able to see me forgive that and throw all that away. That because I taught my son about that belt. I
What did you
told him
teach him? What did you
I
teach him?
told him, I said, man, I used to get beat with this belt. This belt, I used to get whipped. I used to get, man, so many marks on my body came from this belt. This
Oh
one
wow.
belt. So he's seen the weight of it. He felt the weight of it as far as uh, the belt legacy. um, that was very significant for me and him. For me and him to actually go up to the trash and we threw that belt away together, and to not beat my son. That was a tool made for beating. Anything that I got on with lately has been like spankings. These are spankings. This ain't no going back to Mars and dropping that belt down like how my dad used to do. So for him to see that, yeah, that's powerful. Modeling forgiveness for a young black boy. Yes, my son was able to see that, and I brought him around my dad, showing him that we're cool. Ain't nothing wrong. You know, that's my dad at the end of the day, and he knows that. Although I found some of the times it was unnecessary, but
Yeah.
I was showing my son that even though I went through that, he don't have to go through it. So that was part of what we talked about before, where you're
Yeah.
here to learn lessons. And
Mhm.
if you learned that lesson and it comes around again, how do you handle that? You know,
Yeah.
can you accept that message and say, all right, I got it. Now I know how to maneuver around it. Or is it a reoccurring lesson to where you're saying, damn, why is this happening again?
Yeah.
Why am I in this again? Why? Because your ass ain't learned from it. So that was monumental for me and my son. It was almost like a Confederate statue being taken down. It was the equivalent to that. It was the equivalent for real. It was the equivalent to taking down a Confederate statue, because
Ah.
that belt had so much pain within it. Yeah, chemistry, black magic. Yeah, that's how it felt. I'm gonna be real, because like how you related that belt to trauma, going back to slavery, trauma going to Africa, the switches to picking, it's like pick your poison. You're still gonna have to take the poison. And yeah, my dad was abusive. He was, but
But do you think he was abused and maybe, like I think what Rhonda asked him, do you think that maybe his
yeah,
abuse he took
his,
it out on you?
I asked him. I asked him. I said, as an adult, I said, "Hey, why did you whoop me like that?" He said, "Well, my dad used to whoop us. He didn't. That was the only discipline he had. He didn't know how else. I think his dad had nine of them, 9 kids or something, 12
Hmm.
kids, and he said that was his way of discipline." And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, dude, you used to beat me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't beat my little brother. But this is what I told my mother why he didn't beat my little brother. When my little brother was born, he was 7. I was 7 years old. So by the time my little brother turned
Was he was
5,
he was he your little brother's father?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So he that wasn't my biological dad. That was his biological father. So that's where we get that beat you like a stepchild. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So that's what my aunties would say. Dude beating you like a stepchild. And then you hear all the comics. That's when just comedy. What is that called? Comedy Central or whatever.
Kings of
BET.
comedy and all that. Yeah.
Well, no, not Kings of Comedy, but what's that comedy show on BET used to come out with Martin Lawrence used to host it? Jam, Comedy Jam, whatever it's called. But they used to hear about them beating stepchilds. It was like a major thing in comedy in the '90s, the mid '90s. So that I asked him about them whoopings, and I asked him about them beatings, and he just said that it was part of, yeah, HBO. Yeah, there you go. Def Comedy Jam. Yeah, thank you, Kings and Dreams. But I remember him letting me know that that's the reason why he used to whoop me, was because
Mhm.
that's all he knew. But when my son, let me go back to that story about my little brother. When it was one time, I think my little brother was probably 5 or 6 years old, so I was like a little teenager. And I remember my little brother did something that didn't require a butt whooping, and my stepdad got that belt and he swung. Bah, bah, bah. My little brother cried so much. He cried to where I was in the room crying, because I remember that ass whooping. I said, damn, he's getting that ass whooping like I got the ass whooping. So I made a promise to myself. I said, you know what? The next time he get an ass whooping, about to get one, I'm going to intervene. So one time my little brother was about to get an ass whooping, and I stood between the belt and my little brother's ass. And I said, "You don't whoop him. You whoop me from here on out."
What?
Yeah, I was that kind of little guy. I said, "You don't whoop him. You don't have to beat him because he was light skinned too. So his belt marks, I was, I didn't see my belt marks on my ass, but I would see them on him, on his thighs, the whelps, and shit like that. And I'd be like, damn. And he didn't like, you couldn't take a shower after that because that shit burn. You get in that shower, that's open wounds. So you need to take your shower first or your bath first, and then get your ass whooping.
Let me tell you though.
Go ahead.
I hate to interrupt you, but they show up on your dark skin too. They showed up on me.
They showed up on the dark skin.
Yes, sirs. Yes, sirs. Those weapons, they be big too.
See, them whelps look like C's. They look like long ass U's. You get the U shape on you with the tip of the belt. Yeah, them U shape.
Yeah.
I'll never forget them. So, my little brother, I intervened and stepped in between that ass whooping, and he never got a butt whooping then. And my auntie and my grandma used to say, why that man picking on them? Why he picking on Chris? Why he ain't picking on his brother? And they said, man, that stepchild, he beating him like he a stepchild. But they don't know that I intervened and said that he's no longer gonna whoop my little brother no more. And I remember when I was 15, I stood up against my stepdad, and he tried to whoop me at 15. Remember you said that was a marker where you don't whoop?
My wife said 14.
14.
Once I got 14, you had to stop.
Yeah. So 15, I believe he tried to whoop me, and he got that belt and swung, pow, and he was holding my hand. Yeah. And I wasn't moving. He was looking for me to do all this and wiggle. And I was like, and I looked at him in his face, and I said, that's not going to work anymore. I looked right in his face, and I said, that's not going to work anymore.
Well, I guess I'm glad I didn't try to whoop him at 15.
Hey, it was what they say, the kids smelling their nuts. Yeah, that was nut smelling time. So, like my wife tell my son, she say, I go there with you. I go there with you, lad, because they both short. All right. So my wife and my son are like my wife is like 4'11", right? And my son is like 3, almost 4 feet, right? Yeah. So these are little two people. They just over. I'm 5'11", so I'm hovering over them like, what are they fighting at? What are they barking at now? They over there fighting with each other. My wife, I get with your little tail. I come over here, and she, cause my wife like to play with them. Like how you said before, we have a friendship family. So my wife is my best friend, but our son is not our friend yet. He's 10 years old, so he don't have.
No, you gotta wait.
Yeah, we gotta wait. Older. So yeah, right.
But I don't drink, and I don't drink with my sons. They always like to say, "Come on, Dad, don't you want some cognac?" No. You want some, no, don't you want some beer? No.
They want to loosen you up to get some real stories. They want to.
I tell them my father did the drinking for me. Then my wife, she used to try to drink. She said, here you drink some stuff. And so I drunk it. She said, it's not affecting you. I said, damn, my father did the drinking. Damn, I'm immune. Nah.
So your tolerance is high. So that's why you don't drink like that.
No, I don't drink because I blame it on my father, but it's not really my father. What happened is that growing up in Chicago, doing the gang banging time, that I saw people who I was around who was high, they couldn't run and they got shot. See, once you got 15, you couldn't. My father taught me how to box. I taught all my kids how to box. Right. But once you got 15, it wasn't no boxing. Back then it was this. And so I noticed that the people who would drink, they couldn't run, they couldn't get away. Most of the time they got shot. So that's why I made a tradition of not drinking. It's like what Nelly Fuller say. Sometimes when a lot of brothers get around each other, sometimes we don't need to be around each other because sometimes they get bored and they want to fight, And so then so I had learned I learned that I always wanted to have my faculties, man. Wanted to have my
Mm.
faculties in case, you know. But like I said, it's some stories. But the main thing is this: is that my motto is, "He who runs away today comes back another day. He who stays
No,
to
that's
fight,
right.
they're on the ground and they're
Ooh,
dead because they're
they
real
dead.
tight."
They
Yeah,
real
like
tight. They too
right,
tight, huh? They keep it
right. Because
way
we
too
was up in
real,
my,
huh?
I think I told you we was up my old my old elementary school playing basketball, and
Hmm.
then these guys said "stone to the bone," and Lloyd went up to
Oh
take a
yeah,
shot.
yeah, you did.
They blew it.
Yeah,
They shot him in the head.
yeah,
So I
that's
mean,
wrong.
damn, man.
That's wrong. And you seen that.
Yeah.
So did your kids, because you grew up in that rough environment, back to discipline, your parents had to raise you kind of tough to be growing up in that environment. So like you said, your grandmother, she was like,
Yeah.
you got to be real tough because she's seeing what's happening. She ain't trying to raise no little
Uh,
punks, you know.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe it was because you
Okay.
know my mother, if my sisters and them, if they fell and got hurt, she said, "Come here, let me kiss it." If I got hurt, I come over them. I'm hurt. You better stop. Don't you cry, boy. Don't
Mm.
you cry. And then women, they wonder why we don't cry.
Mm.
They wonder why we don't cry. You know, I
Mm.
didn't. I only cried 2 times. I cried when my wife. I cried when my wife was in the hospital. She had a busted appendix.
Mm-hmm.
And then I cried after she died, and I've been crying ever since. Now I can't help but cry all the time. But the
Mm.
point is this: is that before that, nah, I wasn't no
Shush.
crying, and I definitely wasn't gonna cry around my kids because I had boys, man. They can't be seeing their pops cry.
Nah, they
Yeah,
can't see. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
What Scarface say? I ain't never seen a man cry till I
yeah,
seen a man die.
that's right, that's right. You
Woo,
know, just
tough.
like that's like they say on the battlefield. They say on the battlefield, the last words most of those guys say before they die is "mama." Well, mama. They
Mama,
call for their mama.
what
You
they
know.
say? I'm calling
No,
for
they call it
mama,
for mama. That's
calling
that's
for
it. You
mama.
know. Yes,
Like
sir.
like
Because
Douglas,
see,
like
the
Douglas Love.
thing, yeah, it's deep, but the point is this: that I feel knowing what I know about the fact is that learning about African culture, Aboriginal culture, and understanding how they wanted you to have a cognitive approach to growing up, how they
Yes.
wanted you to go and get a stick,
Mm-hmm.
what we would call a branch over here, going to get a branch. I feel in the sense that it was a better way to teach. I feel that the violence that we have in some homes in terms of using belts, ironing cords, a lot of that came from the fact is that they used to beat us with those whips,
Yep.
and because they used to beat us with those whips, that's in a sense what made us feel that we should beat our kids the same way. And I
What's
don't
that?
think we should.
What's that noise where you get the belt and you say pop pop pop?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's that real leather. That's
yeah.
that
That's
real leather.
it.
King of
Yeah, that.
Cream said, I used to call for my mama when my dad was whopping me, laughing out loud. It didn't work. That's because usually
Nah,
your mama probably told him
she's
to
the
whip
one.
your
Yeah,
ass.
yeah. She the one that called on dad to whip that tail. Yeah, yeah. That ain't
Yeah,
gonna help. That ain't
you
gonna
know,
help. Yeah, so
you
there
know,
is a thin line, like how you said, from the beatings and the whippings, and able to talk to your kids. So
yeah,
you don't look at it as generations are getting soft, because I see some, in some cases online, you see like the little children twerking. There's little
yeah.
girls, they have a video where like they said, would you take your kids to this daycare? And the little girls is like, on your hand, on your knees, touch your, and you know, me personally, with my mother and my wife, will say, man, them kids need an ass whooping. So do you, although I don't do that with my son because I talk to him mentally and I see that an ass whooping is unnecessary, but how do a parent go about making that decision with a child to say, all right, you need an ass whooping, you need a switch, you need a belt whooping,
Well,
like Karen, like what do you think, everybody in the audience, what do y'all think is the breaking point to where you say, man, that kid needs an ass whooping? Because we used to talk in the 90s, Dr. Clyde, about the 90s was real big because you had Oprah going against the ass whooping. And
yeah,
it was in the black homes to where we're like, this is how we discipline our children versus how Karen and Colin get disciplined. You know, we'll make jokes like,
Mm-hmm.
you bad in Walmart, and your mama like, who boy, you gonna make me take you in that restroom? You
Yeah.
gonna make, and Karen will be like, oh, stop it, you're making a scene, please leave it, no, just go over here. And then we will walk by them and be like, man, that kid need an ass
Yeah.
whooping. Yeah, you
Karen, you're
take
right.
in that restroom.
Uncle
What?
Karen, you're right. You said my uncle used to call his belt Johnny. Yeah,
Johnny.
them parents had a name for them belts.
They had a name.
They had a name for their belts. Yes, sir. But in terms of that, it's just
Yeah.
like what a lot of parents make a big mistake. A lot of parents, I'm not going to say they're young parents. It's like a lot of parents when I was growing up, they used to think it was cute when their kids would be saying a bad word. But then when their kid got older, then it wasn't so cute.
My
I think
little
that
brother
many,
did that.
I think that many of these parents, you know, I think they think it's cute that their kids be in a sense, you know, twerking and stuff, and they
Yep.
think it's cute, but they don't understand is that you're teaching them a
Mhm.
behavior
Yeah.
that's not good for them. You see,
No.
like I told you how when my granddaughter, she's 26, 27 now, but when she was in seventh grade, the biggest thing, and she was going to a Catholic school. The biggest thing was the girls performing oral sex on the boys and coming to school bragging
Ooh.
about it. You know,
Wow. Bad.
yeah, and
Bad.
so that can see how. But see, that's what the music was
Bad.
saying. That's what the music was
Yeah.
saying. The music was saying
That's
oral
music.
sex, and then that's what they do. Just like,
That's what they
and
do.
so they don't understand that when you're allowing your kid, in a sense, to do things like that, what you're doing is that you're encouraging them to maybe engage in behaviors that down the road you're not going to really respect.
So, family, you saying that they don't know, as them being FBA, they don't understand what they're doing to these kids by letting them listen to a Cardi B, a Nicki Minaj,
No,
and also a Cardi B doesn't let her children listen to that music. But when I look at the artist as like this, a lot of times if you're a mainstream artist, who do you think is buying your records? Who do
yeah,
you think, whenever you create that song about WAP, and we got and in Houston we got Megan Thee Stallion, and I don't like, me being honest, I don't like the ratchet music. I'm not a fan of that. My wife
well,
ain't
you're a
neither.
musician.
Yeah, but my wife, she's not a fan of that neither, because my
Yeah.
wife don't want to hear about what somebody had going on in their bedroom. My wife is like, she digs that 90s kind of R&B stuff, you know,
Mm.
with somebody knocking boots
But
and
see,
come on, that kind of stuff. Nice.
a lot of people going back to that too, Yoshi.
Right,
A
because
lot of
this
people going
Gucci
back to
Mama
that.
stuff, man.
But see, you got to remember is that a lot of people, they're not they're people in a sense that are immigrants and
I like
their
ratchet
children.
music.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's immigrants, and all right, like how you said, the immigrants and their children. So they will feed it to the Americans, or the people in America, but they're not comfortable with it. And I relate that just like a gas station with the Arabic in the store. You don't never see Arabic people going to the gas station to buy anything, but you see the neighborhood going to the gas station. Our
yeah,
kids is saying, hey, can we go to the gas station? And then they put the porno magazines eye level site with the children. They
yeah.
put weapons eye level site with the children. Shit that ain't supposed to be for kids. So you're
Yeah.
right about that. If I'm gonna protect my kids, but your kids are more than welcome to walk in and get
That's what they
mistreated.
do.
That's
But you
what they
got to
do.
remember is that the Arab kids, they live in a different neighborhood. Who knows what
That's
happens at
true.
the gas station?
That's true.
But JP said if a child's continuously doing the same bad behavior, then I blame the parents for not teaching the proper morals and values.
Values, yeah.
Morals are better to teach than rules because rules can be broken. Very important point.
Very,
Now,
very
and I think maybe that's what you were saying. That's
Yeah.
why I think that you and I and sometimes you want to have a conversation with your child.
Yes.
You
Yes.
want to have a conversation with your
Yes.
child. And this is so true. And this is so true right here. Is that too many parents
Want to
now
be
want to be
cool.
cool to
Yep.
their kids instead of discipline. Not only
Discipline.
that, But
Yeah.
I noticed in the 2000s, maybe it was going on earlier. Maybe I just didn't know those people. A lot of single moms, they'll let their daughters be just teenagers, having sex in the house in front of
Oh
them.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
pathetic. It's pathetic to
Yeah.
me.
I knew a dude. He said, all right, he's a little bit younger than you.
Uh-huh.
He said that his dad caught him having sex, took the cover off, positioned him a certain way, and said, "Now get it," and put the cover back on and
That's
closed the
that's
door.
crazy, man. That's
And
crazy.
he told me, he said, "Yeah, my daddy was a hoe."
Yeah.
Um,
And see,
and
but see, and
yeah,
he was probably proud of his son.
he
You know, it's
was.
a wonder. I'm
He
gonna tell you
was
something, family. You
proud.
might not believe this, but it's a wonder. It's a wonder
What up, Corey?
that black people get married. It's a
Yeah,
wonder because see, it's a wonder because we're just taught to be whole so much. You
yes,
want to read that,
yes.
Yoshi?
Social media, modern culture is teaching us to be submissive and avoidant of anything that may not make us feel immediately good, yeah, that self-pleasure stuff, and provide us the ever familiar surge of dopamine from external sources. Yes, so the dopamine rush, the feeling of being satisfied, the uh your pineal gland being open, and your pleasure of this quick pleasurement.
Yeah,
We talked about that, like going to church and you get a dopamine rush when you hear something so good, and you
right.
get the Holy Ghost because they're telling you what you want to hear. The same as how these kids get these dopamine rushes on when they're playing video games,
And playing music and different things like that.
playing different music with that frequency, because they use 4-3, they use 420 hertz instead of 432 hertz. So the frequencies on what they're putting out there. But here's the thing, fam, these artists who are making all this money from this stuff, because your Cardi B's and your Nicki Minaj's and your Megan Thee Stallions are in video games. They're in your Walmarts. They're in your radio station, but they say that it's not for kids. If
Yeah,
it's not for kids, then why not have a radio station have channels for children?
yeah,
Why if it's not for kids, then why are you making an explicit version, and you making a thought, and you making a non-explicit version
yeah.
so it could come across? If it's for adults, then why make it for the kids? Why have it that catchy beat for
That's right.
them and aim it towards clubs
But
if it is not for the
like
kids?
Rhonda said, parents can't teach what they don't know. That's absolutely true.
That's true.
And plus, we also got to go with what Karen said. Back in the day, we had to go out the room when grown folks came to our house. And
Goddamn
and
right.
if you didn't go out the room, you would go sit in a corner and be absolutely quiet.
Quiet. You
If
better
you
not
made
make a
one
sound.
sound,
You are
you had to
being
leave.
noticed. You gotta leave. Yes, you gotta sit like the spook behind the door.
Oh yeah,
Your
Karen. Karen, you
yeah,
absolutely right.
Karen on point. Yeah, Karen on point. What King of Dreams say? I don't think Cardi and Nicki music is bad at all, to be truthful. Well, I disagree with that. I believe that if you gotta tell me what's going on in your bedroom, and if you get on public announcement and say I wouldn't let my kids listen to it, then it's bad. I don't know if you have any kids, King and Dreams, but I have a 10-year-old, and the way how this world is running, they're putting anything in my son way to turn him gay, to make him not masculine, and they're throwing coochie in his face
Right, right,
24/7. They throwing
right.
the ass in my son's face.
Yes,
He
yeah.
can't look at no BET. He can't look at damn near Nickelodeon. They
You
got
can't
the
look at
kids
nothing.
throwing ass.
Nothing.
They got kid cartoons where there's a damn teddy bear throwing ass. So please, please, FBA, B1 community, this right here ain't us. Nicki Minaj and Cardi has never ever made a song that stood out to me No, made an album. I had one. But Bushwick Bill said this. Bushwick Bill said this best. Y'all know Bushwick Bill for
Dum, 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 dum.
yeah. All right, yeah. I say Bushwick Bill. So Bushwick Bill said this. He said, "It's one thing when you give a song out of your whole album to God. It's another thing when you give a whole album to God." You see what I'm saying? So when we create this music, who are we talking to?
What
A
about
lot.
this? What
Go
about
ahead.
this? King of Dreams. Could you
So
read that?
knocking the boots and no. You're right. Knocking the boots is for adults. And that shouldn't have been on the at them times. I shouldn't have been a kid listening to Cotton Candy, Sweet and Low. Let me see your Tootsie Roll. I shouldn't have been exposed to that. Hey, just because,
Hey,
listen here, just because I was exposed to it doesn't make it right. But let me tell you this too. Knocking boots is all right with me versus me hearing about what's the inside of the yanni and how far back it goes down on someone's throat. Okay, let's compare. So you got Cardi B talking about she liked the way it feels in the back of her tonsils. And then you got somebody knocking boots. Now come on now. And we got some singing, baby. We got singing. We got some energy going that make me want. I'm gonna cut this camera off and baby, we about to knock some boots. We about to go knock some boots. He got 8 shine up in here. I can't get jiggy with Cardi B. She left it none to the imagination. Cardi
yeah.
B talks about so much ratchet stuff, but to each his own. Because when I was in the hood, that was their romance. Listening to like Young Jeezy talk about, but listen to how they do it though. Young Jeezy, he talks about all his women as bitches, as dogs, as
Yeah.
hoes,
Yeah.
as whores. I don't relate to my lady like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Tupac. Tupac, he will tell you the difference between a bitch and a woman. He'll say, look at here. You wonder why we call you bitch. I bet you. Because you over here sleeping with this, See, real hip hop back in the day used to talk about why we put these labels and why these labels are out there. Right now, they just throwing labels all around, man. They just explicit song. Throw it here, throw it there. Man,
Look
that
like
stuff.
look like JP. Look like
Good
JP agree
JP.
with you. She says
Thank
there's
you.
a difference between a romantic song and explicit sexual song. That's
Ooh.
complicated. That's complicated. JP, that is very complicated.
An explicit song. All right. In my decade, and while I'm here, we had a song called "All I Want That Like This." Just do it now, lick it good, lick that just like you should. My neck, my back, lick my and my crack. All right. So and I have Trina. You know that been the places I've been, spend the money I spend. If you and your best friend, but you know that nigga. So I know about Trick Daddy. I know about all that. And I know about Uncle Luke. That is for adults. Once again,
But
that
they played it. But they
it
played it on.
shouldn't have been. It was played on the radio.
That's
And
right.
if anybody know like me, you was a kid, you was curious, you was watching BT Uncut. And
But like
come on,
create so far, Junior. Like you said, Dr. Winston, when I was in
right?
school, black girls from my neighborhood would come to class with the crazy stories about their mother whomping them with the switch. They
Yeah,
were usually
whooping their
Southern
ass.
girls. Yeah, they was whooping them, but a lot of times they was getting that stuff from the music. We got to remember. See, I think that's why it was easy. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why it was easy during my time to fall in
Mm.
love because the music was talking about love.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
had with Smokey Robinson.
yeah.
You
When you
had the OJs.
That's right.
Come
And
on,
everything,
stylistics.
and it was like 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 it was just a difference, man. You slow dance with girls,
Barry White.
you
You
kind
had Barry White.
of could deal with Barry
Come
White.
on, you
Well,
had. Come
Barry
on.
White was the guy who got you all stirred up.
Come on,
This is
yeah,
where you
yeah,
want to
yeah. He
go.
from Galveston. Come on, shout out to Barry White from Galveston, G-Town, and over here in Texas, man. Shout out to Barry White. Yeah, boys and men. I make love to you, Luther Vandross.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, he go low and go high. Yeah. Romantic. Yeah, they aren't explicit though. No, they wasn't. I heard some of y'all explicit, nasty, raunchy stuff, and it's part of the blues.
Yeah.
You know about this, Dr. Clyde?
My
Where the
father used to
ladies
sing
went.
it all day. Oh
See,
no,
you know what I'm talking about. See,
Cause
they did.
I'm on a be.
See, they had a lot
I've
of
gotta
that.
be.
They had a lot of that stuff going
Yeah.
on. But you got to look at the blues as a part of freestyling.
Yeah.
A lot of that blues. All right, let me explain something. So the history of let me go into my data bank on music. We touching my touchy topic. So my history of romantic and gutterness and them getting kind of ratchet with the music, it goes all the way back to when we used to have juke joints and we used to have the lady the guy playing a piano, lady go by, I don't like my man, he ain't did shit for me. Oh,
He ain't got no money.
he ain't got no
my
money.
house.
Yeah, all that. Okay, that right there wasn't supposed to leave the juke joint.
Yeah.
That wasn't supposed to be on a record. The white folks came along and got that stuff and started putting it on records. What went on at that juke joint was now in your house. And
Yeah.
kids wasn't allowed to hear that. That was something secretive with adults. We wasn't played on no radio. It was for adults. And even back then, the radio was for adults. It was the adults in the cars. It was y'all entertainment. Y'all cut on the radio to the equivalent of watching TV. There were certain channels kids wasn't supposed to listen to on them radio stations.
But
So,
you know,
go ahead.
Rhonda said that Smokey got a lot of us in trouble. She's right about that.
Goddamn right, Smokey with them green eyes,
Yes, sir.
and the kinfolk to Smokey is the kinfolk to Rick James.
Yeah.
That's Rick James' cousin.
Yeah.
Smokey Robinson is Rick James. I'm Rick James, but that mother, that's his kinfolk. They had the song Ebony Eyes. Y'all go check that out.
Yeah. You know, and like James said, they don't even play love songs at the club. Like my father, with him being light skinned and gray eyes, what could he do? Even me, like I told you when I was growing up, my sister would let her friends practice kissing with me. They didn't try to tongue kiss me or nothing. They might want, kiss me on the lips and all that. So man, when I felt I was God's gift to women. So I mean, if I wouldn't have really caught myself, I probably would still be a player today. Like my I tell you, my brother's 60 years old, pulling 35-year-old women. Get out of here.
Come on.
I don't even know what they see in his old ass butt.
Yeah, but he
got the gab, man. He got the gab. Here's another one. Create Junior say, I post
good modern R&B music at my blog that keeps good B1 love alive. I love that. Some of those artists are Frank McCobb, Jimmy Jam, Avery Sunshine, Brian Owens, Tracy Hamlin, Deborah One, Brandon Williams, etc. Oh yeah.
And see, but that's what we need. But see,
that's good. Uplift the spirit.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, like you said, I even see a lot of young people. A lot of young people, they're not listening to the radio. They're not listening to Carly B. Them. They may have heard the song, but they're more trying, in a sense, to listen to music that goes back in the day.
There you go. But but Dr. Clyde Winters, who's listening to these songs? Okay. All right. B1 community. If anybody out there know hip hop, do any one of us listen to Eminem? The answer is hell no. We do not listen to Eminem. We don't really even support his ass. But guess who's supporting him? When you go up on that metadata, that unit, with when you go to metadata and you put that Octus headset on, they're buying or they're using the music from these lame artists and they're putting them in them games. So we're not listening to them. Our kids are listening to these lame ass artists. So there's a bunch of lame music that is being flooded through video gaming. Right. Eminem was on Fortnite, y'all. This mofo made it to Fortnite. Don't nobody listen to him.
Yeah, but the young kids are getting it. Jalen, how you doing? back in the
up,
day when
J-Lo?
I was a kid listening to Neo
Oh, I
and
love
Usher,
Neo.
I didn't
Love
really
it. No,
understand the
you
meaning
didn't.
of those songs
Mm-mm.
because my mind was so innocent. I
Innocent.
didn't understand.
But guess what? Can you understand Cardi B? If see, the thing is, we can't understand, but they forcing these kids to understand. See, they was talking subliminal, like you said, Dr. Clyde. You said we are not blunt. We speak in metaphors,
Right.
man. We talk metaphorically to make you think, to make you feel it. We're trying to go to as above, so below. So we're trying to go here and in your heart. We're creating an image in your head as an artist. These artists nowadays is not leaving it to the imagination.
But
Remember the
see,
girls? We were players too. Goddamn
yes,
right.
yes, yes, you were. Yes,
Talk
Rhonda,
about that.
Rhonda,
Rhonda,
you
no.
must have knew that girl who, I think you knew that girl who mistreated me, that girl who put me down. I haven't forgotten what she did. Rhonda, why did you do it
Come
to
on, man.
Oh, oh. Stop,
Come
Clyde.
on.
Rhonda, you mean. You're
Yeah.
telling it like it is.
So yeah. So we're not, as far as the radio goes, y'all, FBA is not supporting second frequency white folks music. We ain't supporting the cracker music, man, when these crackers trying to swagger jack us. We ain't supporting it at all. But guess what is? Your kids is supporting it subconsciously. My son knows who a damn Eminem is before he knew what a Tupac was.
Wow.
Make that make sense. My son was like, man, Eminem pretty tight. I said, what? And he listening to that song, uh uh Trailer Park Kids, come out on the outside. Guess who's back? I am back. Guess who's back once again? You know why they're liking him? Because his words are animated and now they're starting to fit the criteria of these children's with this animation propaganda that's going on.
Yeah.
So that's where the music is going. They're putting top of the line artists behind their crappy ass songs and they're selling it to the kids. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up what it is, and I'm tired of us being targeted on that damn online shit that we can't control it. I'm tired of it, man.
Yeah, and you know,
Pushing that
Create is
damn
tired
shit.
of it too. Create
I
said, I'm
see.
tired of that angry second frequency movement of hip
Right.
hop. It's getting
Same.
worse on the underground. I
Yep.
feel like those type of artists put a damper on the music and the culture.
Goddamn right.
You're right. You're right.
Bullshit. It is. It make older folks say fuck hip hop. It make middle age groups say, man, hip hop dead. It make the younger generation embrace the leftovers behind hip hop because they don't even know where the shit came from, man. They don't even know the history of it, and the people that's kicking the history are not putting behind the artistry. They're not getting the young artists to put their shit. Like, I'm gonna just be real, man. Big Daddy Kane, DJ Quick, KRS-One. We can go to a lot of them. A lot of them are not getting young artists, drawers, creators, and putting animation into their music to
Right.
get on. Like KRS, I'm gonna be honest, that brother should be up on. I'd rather him on Fortnite going
Yeah.
hard. I'd
But
rather him be kicking that, man. They
but
pushing this
he
nonsense.
not giving a good message. You know, like James said,
No.
they pushing nonsense. My 8-year-old
Nonsense.
doesn't like female rappers. All they talk about is money and shaking their booty,
Booty,
shaking
yeah.
my head. But he likes Rhapsody. I mean,
See?
it's even the young kids because see, I'm gonna
Say
tell
no.
you is
You
that
can't
if you
deceive
grew
these
up
kids.
if you grew up in the FBA,
Right
if you
on.
grew up FBA, you went to church.
Right.
You heard people who really knew how to
Foundation.
sing.
Yep.
People who really knew how to sing. And now a lot of these people they don't know how to sing
Nope.
because they're not getting that training. So they're just trying, in a sense, to give you all type of misdirection.
Eminem ain't nothing but a culture vulture thief who wants our rhythm but couldn't dare handle our blues with his silly cracker frequency self. I'm gonna get Yoshi to it.
Ooh,
Yoshi
you
mom to
bad,
it.
Yoshi.
I'm a bad mother. My mama not here to shut my mouth, so I'm just going in. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You damn right about that. So with them trying to push that agenda on the cool to our kids. So where it's at right now, I talked to some people in well, not FBA, these indigenous, they want to be the tribal Indians. So I talked to some of the tribal Indians, and a lot of them say they're trying to educate the middle age group of adults, and they like, man, we ain't worried about the kids. Well, my thing to y'all is, while you're not worried about the kids, they're attacking our kids left and right,
The kids are the
24/7.
future. Kids
The
are the future.
kids are the future. Protect the kids. Like we gonna go back to that ass whooping stuff, man. Protect them kids. You don't need to be beating them kids. I didn't need all them damn beatings. Ass whooping ain't gonna make me smarter. A
Yeah.
correction will make me smarter than an ass whooping. Like I said before, that ass, I wasn't afraid of that ass whooping. I was more afraid of my mother ignoring me. All right? Y'all let that sink in. It's a mental thing with these kids. These kids are smart, man. You can't deceive these kids. These kids know what the hell going on. My generation knew somewhat of what's going on, but these new generation kids, none of that stuff go past them, man. You just got to teach these kids what the realness is. I got a 5-year-old boy. We'll say I got a 5-year-old boy and a younger daughter. What Chemistry Black say?
Yeah.
A lot more kids on the spectrum these days. See, these kids know what's up with these frequencies and stuff, and they know good music. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to push that cracker agenda into that music,
Yeah.
because a lot of times that music that y'all hear that be catchy in the background, if you look up who that artist is, that artist is a real deal rainbow, some kind of fruity balloon, don't even
Yeah.
have good morals. People are writing the music for these lame people, and they're feeding it to them, and they're becoming a front for them. But then when you find out how goofy they looking, you don't even want to support that kind of stuff, man. So support your kids all the way around. We're going to get into another one of our shows about cartoons. I want to do one of shows like that, Dr. Clyde. I want to
We'll
go
work
in
on that. We'll work on that. But
straight up,
anyway,
straight up.
family, we've been on almost about 2 hours, and
I know,
I want
man.
to
Yeah.
thank the family for coming. I want to
Yeah.
and thank you guys in the chat, because you
Appreciate
help
you.
make the show, because you're also saying then and now. You're also telling us stuff, and this is
Yes.
very important. So thank you for coming. Did you have any
Yes.
last things to say, Yoshi?
Yeah. I wanna if you can play that commercial real quick again for them times 5. If y'all enjoyed the show, follow, like, share up on TikTok. Dr. Clyde Winters have his TikTok page. Yoshimod got his TikTok page. Y'all follow, like, subscribe, and share. Y'all go up on that Instagram. Y'all share this information with people. We need to teach other people about how not to whoop ass in the FBA community. What is borderline ass whooping? What is borderline beating? Y'all share this video. Y'all also share this up on Facebook. Y'all like and subscribe to Tons Fire up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever this young brother is. If y'all want some indigenous tribal jury, my brother is into all that. He can make, you see that picture right there? Brother made that picture to the left. That's one of his symbols that he made, that gold symbol. So, man, look, support FBA by any means possible. Y'all support us. We support you by giving y'all this good content and giving y'all great quality
And
on everything that we touch.
go and subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Yoshi channel, and please join my Patreon. My Patreon is what helps me to do the research. It really makes my history stuff good. But right now, let's look at this commercial, everybody.
Yeah.
She got me reaching for the top on my tippy toes. Just got she messing with the chick of Jones. The gold touch your heart, put them in a rose. Chase the spirit one time, make it so. She gon' take me out of space into another zone. My spirit, she messing with the pretty rose. Microwaves and cobalt, that's how I fall. all up in the front. First quit approach, she gon' drop it low to the floor. You know she live with gold with the alchemy in the bone. Truly super soul is the greatest I never told. She gon' get you right, you can settle before you go.
Right on, y'all. Y'all go and support that young brother and support Dr. Clyde Winters up on his Patreon channel. And we out, baby. Support
See
me
you
on my
later. Take care, family.
Thank y'all for all the support on mine. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Right now, it's time to wrap everything up, you dig? Yeah. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Yo. And Dr. Clyde Winters. Then and now. Yeah, I really appreciate everybody. All y'all support. Y'all like, subscribe, and share this. You dig it? Yo. You've been invited to the dinner night. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the dinner night. Yeah. Dr. Clyde Winters in the Yoshima. Intro, outro to the dinner night. We gon' see it, so have dinner night. Yeah, raise your hand up. Why put them down? B1 on that dinner night. FB8 on that dinner night. FBB on that dinner night. It's all about unity on that dinner night. My indigenous folks on that dinner night. All my Africans rise on that dinner night. Rise up on that dinner night. And don't forget to subscribe to dinner night.
All right. That's it, huh?
Yes, sirs. Bye, everybody.